Oh, and that's the way that song ends. I hit the wrong button. Welcome to the show. We just no bass drop today, but that's okay. We've got plenty of bass here because she's all about that bass, right? No treble. We have too many logos. We got a new background, so we take off the logo because we got the big one on the big studio behind us. You can see our big screen over here. See that right there?
Yeah.
I'm touching it. So new look. Tell us how you like it. Tell us what you think of the graphics. Today we are talking about some cool stuff. You know, the show is actually sponsored by Coaching Done Better. It's the platform where you can meet the perfect coach. It's a way to improve every day. We've got coaches to improve your mind, body, and business. And my particular channel is dedicated towards making sales members sales masters. So if you guys remember, last week we talked a little bit about the sales funnel. We're not talking about click funnels or building leads. This is about true sales systems. And Ray Leone created this back in the 80s. He's made multiple millions of dollars incorporating the systems in different corporations around this country. He's got licensee around the world doing it. And we talked about DISC. We talked about rapport building, first impressions. And today we're going to kind of build on that, do a little teeny bit of recap. And we're going to talk about strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
Strengths and weaknesses. So we each have strengths and we each have weaknesses. And sometimes our strength can be our weakness.
It can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we are going to get into some of that. So if you want
and our weaknesses can be our strengths.
And more than that, your client, your competitor's strength we can position their strength as their weakness too.
Yes.
So it's all about strategery and words and really looking at things in a different way, but also knowing your competition.
Yes.
We had a discussion this morning about how do we know what their strengths are? Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah, you have to look up your competition.
Yeah, you got to know everything about everything. It's one of Ray's rules. Know everything. That's his rule.
I'm trying. It's taking a lifetime, though.
It's one of it's one of his first principles. All right, so let's get into some of this stuff. So watch this cool stuff. We're gonna go to bam. That's the sales funnels page. How do you like that?
All right.
Yeah, lots of moving stuff. Sales funnels again, it's a selling system. Ray wrote this book back in the 80s. It's amazing. But let's just do a bit of a recap with what these things mean and how do we sell to these other personalities. So when you go to speak to somebody, it's called mirroring their modality, which means they have to match their pacing, match their phraseology, and that's part of the rapport building. So understanding what a high D, and I'm a very high D and an even higher I actually, but like 95 and 96 are both very high. So with a D, they're dominant. Avoid telling them what to do. There's some things over here that you can see next to us. Don't give them ultimatums. They like to be in charge. Mm-hmm. They like to have choices. They like to have the power and authority. They love to delegate.
Yes.
One of the things we talked about between a D, an I, and a C, especially, not so much the S's, is you get to walk into one of their offices and find out what they are by looking at their desk.
Because it's clean.
Well,
right?
not necessarily. The difference is, though.
Yeah.
A D's desk isn't necessarily clean as much as there's nothing on it because he delegates everything.
Right.
All right? And a D, you want to avoid small talk. You don't want to ask how your mom and them are. You want to talk about things. We talked about before about the 38% of small talk and the benefits and features. You don't want to do that. There's a strategy to talk about, to building rapport and to have a positioning statement, which we can get into in a little bit. But really, the D likes to brass tacks. Bam, bullet point it for me. Focus on results. Assuage fears. $5 Ray college word. Which means avoid or get rid of or put right up front, make sure that there is no fear of them being taken advantage of.
Okay.
One of their biggest fears is they don't want to find out next week they could have got a better deal. Yeah, the bigger, better deal. This isn't about that. And one of those ways we do that is with the value triangle. We talk to them about value, price, and speed, and quality. Price, speed, and quality. So when you find out what their idea of value, speed, and quality is, they might find out later they could have got it cheaper, right, for a lesser price. But as long as they know that the speed and the quality is there, they're fine. You don't want to lose out on two of those, definitely. So they got a competitor, and they found out they got what you got, but faster and better and cheaper. So let's talk about the eyes. It's right underneath. The eyes, they're the life of the party. Now, when it comes to their desk, you can't see what color their desk is because everything is everywhere. And it's because if they don't see it, it doesn't exist. They've got things on there from 10 years ago. They just keep stacking up and building around it. And it might be organized in their mind.
Right.
But it's out.
Organized chaos.
Yeah, it's out. They want to touch it. They want to get to it. They're enthusiastic. They're the people party, the people, right? They like to be around people. They get their energy from people. They're great with verbal skills, but they hate being told no. They don't like, what is that called when people tell you no, and they don't like you and stuff?
When they don't like you?
Yeah, when they don't like you. What is that called? Nobody likes you. You know what is that? What do you call it? You know how everyone doesn't like you?
They hate you?
No, when they don't like when people tell them no.
Oh, like dismissed or?
No.
They don't like to be turned down?
Yeah, I'm looking for a certain word that's on the top of my head, but
sorry.
In a sales world, it's when you either get a yes or a no, and if it's a no, you get a something. It starts with an R.
Rejected?
Yes, they don't like rejection.
Okay.
Yeah. See, she's never been rejected, so.
Oh.
So yeah, they hate rejection.
Yes, I have.
They hate rejection. They want social recognition.
So
they
those are
love
the
the
people
spotlight.
You want to do small talk with, but you want to make it all about them.
They like ego. Yeah,
Right.
Exactly. So with an I and a D, you're going to find both of those in sales. You're going to find both those higher up in organizations.
Okay.
Especially the higher they go, the more D. But in sales, a lot of I. So a lot of I.
Because they're personable.
Yeah, they're
Like,
personable.
right?
They're people.
Yeah.
They like to talk. Now, minimize the details when you're dealing with an I. So
Okay.
when you're trying to pitch them, large strokes. Get them emotionally involved, right?
Okay. So
Because
make
they're
an
emotional people.
connection.
Mm-hmm.
Or tie it to your product or your service.
Yeah, both. Yeah.
Okay. And
And then stress innovative technology. They're the gadget people. Hello, right? They are the gadget people. You want to close with an appeal to ego. So in doing this, your employees are going to love you. Your employees are going to think so highly of you for what you're about to do. With the D, it's the alternate choice. Close with the alternate choice. Would you rather have cash payments or 36-month finance? Would you rather take delivery now or take delivery in 6 months from now? It's always this or that.
Okay. Because then that makes them feel like they're
They're making the choice.
Control.
Yeah.
Some power.
They do make decisions fast. The D's and I's make decisions.
Okay.
That's why they're always up in the hierarchy of an organization. And finally, the D must respect you. They don't have to like you, but they must respect you to do a deal. The I must like you.
Okay.
Ray says, unless you have the last bottle of water, if you're selling a bottle of water to an I and he doesn't like you, he's not going to buy it.
Okay.
Unless it's the last. There's no way a high I, if he doesn't like you or she doesn't like you, will do business with you if they don't like you.
Okay.
So they must like you. All right, let's get to this S and the I's. The S and the I, very interesting. You are high S.
Yes.
Yes. So which means,
According to my disc profile.
yeah, well, look at these are your characters, are they not? Team player, you're
Yes.
security minded,
Yeah.
you resist sudden change. See, you can't even make your mind up about that. You family oriented?
I am.
Okay. And
Does things later.
my
Yeah.
Yeah, much, much later.
Yes, later than you would do.
Christie's doesn't have Nike. She's got Nike's cousin. Just do it later. Avoid sudden changes. All right. Competition rather than cooperation. Avoid competition. So you want to bring the whole world into the tent. You don't want to make it a competition. Avoid conflict. Avoid multiple tasks. They want security for family, appreciation, truth, and loyalty is the hugest part.
Okay.
An S are oftentimes the gatekeepers, the nurses. They are administrative assistants. They are people who care for other people. And so if you are going through an S because they've been given a certain responsibility to make a choice for a vendor, don't trash talk the other vendors. Assure them that the employees won't be hurt by this. They'll be helping the employees. All right. Security, security, security. And slow and steady. So the way to sell them is tell them, and then tell them again, and then tell them again.
Why so many times?
Because they want to know as they're going along exactly what's happening.
They want to feel safe.
They like the details.
Okay.
Right? These people like the details. They want to feel safe, so you're going to tell them. So, and then when we talk about the assumptive close, so we're going to talk about the close, that they don't like change, especially when it relates to systems. They want a win-win. And so when you close, it's called the assumptive or the summary close.
Okay.
This is the part where you tell them and tell them again. So, Christy, when we decided to list your house, we decided we're going to list it for $189,000. If it doesn't sell in 3 months, we're going to lower it to $179,000. And then we're going to come and do some pictures. We're going to do aerial pictures and internal pictures. And we're going to do 4 open houses. All I need you to do is to initial at the bottom to get this thing going. Here's the pen.
Okay. So they want like a schedule. They want to know what's going to happen.
Right.
They want all the steps, the processes.
Yeah. And so when we go
Details.
through all those, and at the end I said, so we agreed that we would list it for $189,000. If it doesn't sell in 3 months, we're going to lower it by $10,000 because we agreed to that. We're going to do pictures. I promised you internal and aerial photos, and we're going to do 4 open houses. So
Yeah.
every weekend for the next 4 weekends, just sign the bottom to confirm that that's what we agreed upon. Get this going. So I'm saying we did it. That's what we
Yeah.
agreed on. Here, sign here.
Okay.
That's a close. It's a tactic called the assumptive close. It's the only one you do with all the DISC. It's the only one you do it with is the S. Okay.
Okay.
And finally, the accountants of the group. These are the paper pushers, the people that have I wouldn't say no personalities, but these are accountants.
Yeah.
These are purchasers.
Introverts.
These are people that love going by the book. Okay. Introverts is probably huge. Do it later. They're recognized by doing it. They're reserved, critical thinkers, conscious, very accurate. Everything is about detail with them. Avoid criticizing their work because, again, they've done it just like the book says. Avoid taking, don't ask any personal questions. Ray has a story where he walked in and asked about their kids, and I'm like, what business of it is yours? All right? It's none of your business about
So
my
they can
kids.
compartmentalize?
Very much so.
Okay.
They hate incomplete data. They don't like you when you ask too many questions of them. They like you to give them the details.
Okay.
Okay? And they want autonomy. They love rules. And they love professional development and freedom from personalization. So don't give them too much room to work in. Give them exactly what to do, and they'll do it. Now, emphasizing track record, and let's see here. Where's my C? So again, we want to avoid. That's the D's here. The C's. When we get down, I want to give detailed presentations, backup claim with the proof. So if you say it's with a CH is, well, we're going to promise you between 50 and 60% improvement. The C will say, well, which is it, 50 or 60? And do you even know, or are you making this up?
Okay.
But if you say if we've seen an improvement of 56.5% improvement, and here is where it is,
Here's the proof.
be ready because they're going to ask for it.
Okay.
So back up the claims with the proof source. If you quote some source from something you read, they're going to know exactly where you read it. Be ready to tell them.
Okay.
You want to. They decide that this is a deal that's safe. This has security and low risk. They are terrified
Of taking risk.
of taking risk. In fact, that's why they don't make decisions, because they have to do the numbers over and over and over to make sure they don't do a mistake. That's why there's a penalty for delay. When you build in a penalty for delay, you create a
sales.
monetary penalty for inaction.
Okay.
So instead of saying this is going to save you $10,000 a month, and over 12 months, that's $120,000 a year. But instead, you would turn that and you say, if you don't make this decision, it's going to cost you $10,000 a month. Are you prepared to lose $10,000 a month going over this again when I've given you all these details? And finally, the C must, remember the D must respect you.
Yeah.
The I must like you. I don't think we said the S, but the S must trust you. Yep. And the C must nothing you.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Wow.
It's not based on you. It's based on the details and the data.
Details of your product or service.
That's right. So let's get to the meat of the matter. And this part is fun. We talk about building these relationships using different senses, talk about kinesthetic, auditory, and visual. So if somebody is saying, I hear this, or it seems to me like the way I see it, all right? I hear what I'm hearing is that means that they are an auditory personality. If they say the way I see it, that means they're a visual.
Okay.
They have a visual sense of learning or communicating. I feel is a kinesthetic. So you want to repeat those words: see, hear, feel, when you're telling them things.
So wouldn't each disc personality say
No, not really.
things in a different way?
Not really. No, the disc doesn't really differentiate how somebody learns. It's only how they behave.
Okay,
It
so
has
when they
nothing to do-
verbally say, I feel, I see,
They're
or
good-
I think,
Yeah, not think. Feel, hear, see. Feel, hear, see.
okay,
Those are the three. And you're gonna see. They don't really mix them. Somebody doesn't say, I feel like this, and the way I see it, and the way I hear, what I'm hearing. Normally, they say the same thing over and over. It's normally a repeated behavior or statement.
okay, all right.
And when they say that, you'll hear it a few times, then you could start saying those things.
So you're supposed to repeat them. Repeat.
Mirror. There's mirroring their modality.
Mirror.
And so when you go to
Talk in
explain
that
something to them,
language because
Yes.
they understand it better.
they're gonna identify very quickly with it. Remember we talked about 38% of people don't like this, 74% of people don't like small talk. Well, DISC is DISC. So if there's 4 different personalities, only one of them are guaranteed to pretty much like you.
The D.
25%. No, if you're an S,
Yeah.
the S's are gonna automatically like you.
Oh, okay.
If you're an I, the I's are going to automatically. If I'm a D and I'm talking to a D, I'm talking fast because that's the way I talk. But if
But
I'm
isn't there one group that gets along with everybody?
S gets along more with everybody else.
That's me.
Yes, that's you. But if I'm a D and I go and talking to an S very fast like this, I'm not
Yeah.
going to penetrate. I'm not going to resonate with you. So if I know that you're an S, I want to slow down and talk slower. Because I know that S's process things a lot more differently. I don't want to use big gestures, hand gestures. I want to keep everything right here tight, right? And Ray says he imagines putting honey all over himself and making himself sweet for the
For
S's.
S's.
And then it's sticky, so he keeps all of his hands from moving too much. That's what he says. So when you're talking about dealing with a C, I, or an S, being a D, I need to understand what they are so I can bring myself and match their modality.
Okay.
All right. So now, my strength is my personality strength.
Yeah.
But it's a weakness when I'm dealing with another
Right.
one
With
of these.
another personality that might not
traits.
like the way that you
Yes.
normally talk or
Yes, that's right.
speak.
Because they have different personalities, and so you want to bring your personality more in line with theirs. So let's get to the funnest part, which is this part.
Funnest.
Ray created this with years and years ago. And I want you to look on the left side. Everyone look on the left side. Put some things in the comments if you're watching. And look at some words that might identify yourself. What do you see in yourself? Trusting, self-confident, cautious. What are maybe one or two that you identify with?
Me?
Yes. On the left side.
I think I'm practical.
Okay, what's another one? It's such an S thing to be, too.
Practical?
Yeah, practical. And what's the other one?
Trusting.
Trusting. Yes, see, another S thing. Those are very
But I don't
high.
think I'm gullible.
Okay, fine. You don't have to be all of them.
Yeah.
No, you're not think you're gullible. Well, where do you see gullible?
On the weakness side.
Well, you're getting ahead. Did I?
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought that it's like.
I said pick out two from the left side.
Okay.
You pick trusting and practical.
Okay.
Those are strengths, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
In some cases, yes. Yeah.
Right. So if I am a high D, and you are the salesperson, which you are, you're in sales, you're a real
Yes.
estate broker,
Yeah.
and you treat me with too much trust, you give me too much rope, you think I'm going to just trust everything you say, or if I tell you stuff and you never question it, if I test you, which D's will do, I'm going to test you,
Yeah.
I'm going to think you're gullible. Because you're just going to believe everything I say without pushing back because you're trusting. I'm going to be like, she's gullible. When she goes into negotiations, she's going to believe everything the other side says, and she's gullible. Because your strength, when you're dealing with a D, you can't afford to show that much trust.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
Right.
Okay.
When you're practical.
So I have to meet like your skepticism.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But
In my language or the way I deal with it. Okay.
yeah, because you're going to see things through my eyes. I'm the customer. And you're an S, I'm a D, so you've got to think more like a D. And knowing what you are, knowing what the Ds are now, that makes it possible to do that.
Yeah.
Practical, where's practical? What's across from that one?
Unimaginative.
Unimaginative. So that's
But I don't think that I'm unimaginative.
well, if you're being too practical when trying to solve a solution, the D might say, listen, there's 100 ways we could do this.
Okay.
And knowing that you're working with on D or high I, being high I is left definitely more right brains, right? So they're very creative,
Yeah.
and so they're not
But
so practical.
Isn't like I think my next one down is an I. Like I'm an SI.
Yes, right. So for you, it wouldn't be that much of a jump, but if somebody was
Yeah.
a high S, it might be, especially if they're an SC.
Yeah.
Okay. So me, I'm a professional speaker. I speak a lot. I speak every day. We create content every day. That really hurts me when I'm talking to a C or another high D that I'm trying to sell. If I talk too much, I can talk too much, and that
Okay.
that would be bad. I am very ambitious. If I'm dealing with an S, it can be looked at as ruthless. You know, because if I say the wrong thing about a competitor, they're going to take that as a ruthless thing to say when I just mean that even if I don't say something bad about them, if I bring them up in a way at all that we're going to do this more better than whatever. You got to watch comparing yourself to an S because they're going to think, that's not good. So you got to watch if I'm talking to an S, for example.
Well, I've never been one to bash competition.
You don't have to bash them, but you can say how you're different, and that could come off in a certain way as not bashing, but you're still putting yourself above them, which you want to make you do yourself different than them.
Okay.
You know, especially when you're dealing with an S. Now, dealing with a D, it's okay because
Because they want to know why you're different.
they like to see the,
Yeah.
the aggression there. And not every single D is that way, but. And then plus some Ds are high also. There's a high D and then there's another one next to it. That's 75%. I'm a high I, high D. My S is a 4. It's way, 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 way. And when I talk about 0 to 100, my C is actually pretty high for a high D and a high I.
Right.
But that's because of years of my detail, the job that I had. Mm-hmm. Oh, there we go. I'll show it. Bam.
So I think so when you're trying to determine what personality the person is, there's a lot of crossover, and that's where I get kind of
There's not everybody has a highest something.
okay.
Their highest something is probably
So
going to
just
show
go with
through.
that.
Always go with that.
Okay.
Always go with their highest trait.
Okay.
Yes. If it's really close, like my I and D are so close, you're safe either one. Because the traits are pretty close.
Okay.
Now, if I was a high D, high S, I'd be institutionalized probably. But I mean, they have them. There's some people out there that are like Tony. Tony's 100% I, nothing else.
Oh, wow.
Everything else is below the meridian line, there, the middle line. So let me go back here and let's talk about, as we land this plane, and go here, making our competitors' strength their weakness and making our weaknesses a strength. Mm-hmm. So I'll give you an example that Ray gives, and I'll give you an example that
So the first thing to do
worked
is
for me.
determine the personality that you think you're dealing with.
Determine the personality. Yes, that's the very first thing.
Right.
But DISC is the observable language. You can see by their desk. You can see how they're standing. You can see how they're sitting. You can see when you greet them. Are they shaking your hand? Is it a fist bump? Is it a hug? Is it a... Is it
Okay.
2024 and I got a mask on?
Okay.
You can tell.
All right.
That's a big clue. If it's a handshake with both hands here, one here, and one here, that's a D. If it's just a regular handshake here, that's an I. If it's a fist bump, you're getting into some SCs. If it's a big hug, that's an S, I.
Yeah.
If it's a nothing,
It's a
if it's
C.
barely a fist bump, yeah, exactly. They like their space.
Yeah.
Are they buttoned up? You've seen these shirts, these are polo shirts, but they've got 2 buttons on them and people got them buttoned up. That's a C all day long. All right? If it's open like mine, I'll open and you can tell how I'm sitting like this. It's just a way. That's a D. This is a C.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
This
Okay.
down here is an S. All right? They're still closed, but they're not open. You can, if you're walking toward each other, you can tell how they walk when they're coming down a corridor.
Right.
You could tell a D by which office they're in. Most likely, they're in the biggest one, the most pronounced one.
Yeah.
They like the recognition. Eyes, same thing. And again, when you walk in, what does their office look like? Do they have the pictures of their kids all over their desk? That's an S. See, there's not a picture anywhere. There's a skeleton in the corner. That was the last sales guy waiting for this yes. So yeah, you can tell by looking exactly what they are. And then you hear the words that they use.
Okay.
So again, I'll tell you two short stories. Ray was trying to get a bank, and he was presenting in front of a committee, which is a bunch of people. But what are a bunch of people? They're individuals.
Right.
They each have
Different personalities.
You got to know them.
Right.
So he's got a grid that he does called a buyer's grid. And anyway, he's trying to get their coaching, training, sales system, a sales funnel into this bank's training system. And his competitor had hundreds and hundreds of banks that they've trained over the years. And Ray had trained 0. And they said, what about that? And he said, well, you're going to be my only focus. You're my only bank.
Yes.
I'm going to do the best job for you so he just turned their strength into a weakness and his weakness into a strength.
Yes.
And those are also called landmines, by the way. He has something called landmines. So let's pretend they have 3 presentations back to back. He's the first one.
Okay.
He sets a landmine
For the next
next guy. Yep. By saying, by the way, I just want to tell you right up
But he's
front.
also doing his research on those
Of
2
course
that
he
are
is.
coming in. But sometimes you don't know that.
You do know it because you're not a sales master if you're not. You're a sales amateur.
Okay.
You're a sales member.
Okay.
You're a sales person. But a sales master knows everything. He's read it. He's talked to them. He's been involved. He or she, they just know their industry. They know their competitors. They know the people. They've had dinner with them. They've had drinks with him. They've been at conventions
he's
with
built
him.
the foundation already.
Yes. So I know that the other two are coming in and they specialize in banks and we have not, but we built this whole program about your bank. We're not just basing this training on banks. We're basing it on American National Bank. We know everything about your business. We know A, B, C, your close rate, how many customers, how many loans you have. We know everything about you. We know what business you want because we've done a good job asking before we came in here. In the research phase. By the way, where's the sale made? Research, education, dream fulfillment is where the contract. Where's the sale made? 3 phases. Where is it? Research phase, education, when I'm telling them,
I would think the research.
The research is when the sale's made.
Yeah.
It's where all the sales made. Good job. Ping, boom, lightning
I pay
bolt.
attention.
No, that's a money one.
I need
Look
to.
at you're in the money. Yeah.
Well, I've listened to those videos, but it's been a while. So
Yeah.
I need to redo them.
So one of the things that we had, kind of a similar story, is that we got Facebook as a company with average of $20 million a year revenue. We did $60 million a year before because we were in the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, but we 27 employees. We were basically subcontractor based. Now, Mostech had 10,000 employees and did $15 billion a year in revenue. And Fiberdyne.
And that was your competition.
That was our competition. Fiberdyne, 8,000 employees, maybe $12 billion in revenue. Every year, we had 27. We had less people in our company than they had in one of their satellite offices in Alaska, probably.
Right.
But we won. We won $180 million worth of stuff because we used Ray's. We knew everything about that project. I knew every mile. I drove every square inch. 180 miles. I drove every square inch. I knew where the hidden gas was. I knew what kind of rock we were going to be drilling in. We came up with a different way to bill so that the company could show that they're paying less, but we'd actually end up billing 30% more at the end of the project. But they're okay because we got it pre-approved with how much we told them. Mostech came in and just said, "This is how much we get." Fiberdyne came in and said, "This is how much we get."
So you had a flexible pay structure.
Well, yes, we did that because we understood the job better than they did because they assumed they were going to get it because it was such a big project. But with us, and they said, "Listen, we're going to give you 90 miles, half of it." And we said, "Can you do what you said, though?" And we said, "Yes." And they go, "We're going to have the first time you miss the first thing, we're out. You're out of here." And we didn't. And Mostech missed the first. Oops. And the other guy missed the first couple thing. We ended up with all 180 miles. And we did all 180 miles. And that was just millions and millions of no, it's 180 miles. It's how many miles? It has $180 million. It was 200 miles. It was 100. I think it was 100 miles this way, 100 miles that way. So anyway, it was a lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot. When you're talking about underground, talking about $1 million a mile. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money. So we were, but we used Ray's system.
Yeah.
We used Ray's and Tony Robbins. I had myself in state. Right?
Yes, you did.
It was all about that mental attitude when you go in there and following Ray's book, the sales funnel, the success secrets of the sales funnel.
Yes.
And I've been a sales master that day. Now, I was there in the position or the role of operational, vice president of operations, but I was selling.
Yeah.
I knew their disc profile. I knew the needs. I knew the project. I knew my competitors. And we got it. And it created, it was the catalyst of our selling ourselves.
Yes.
Eventually.
Yeah.
For 8 figures and doing this now for a living. So I hope you.
So I think another video that I would like to do is how do you, like the importance of actually delivering what you promised.
Follow up. Yeah.
Follow up.
So
like once you get the deal or the contract to the
So
client.
Ray talks about closing, the perfect close. He's got the thing about the perfect close, but I'm not going to tell it here. But he's got, if you want to know what the perfect close is, if you're a salesperson, we have the recipe for the perfect close. Just reach out to me, go to coachingdonebetter.com, sign up as I want to coach, come to my profile, put yourself on my schedule. It costs you nothing. You're not going to get a bunch of emails. That's how you get on my schedule. And I will tell you the secret to the perfect close. How's that for a carrot?
Yeah, I want to know.
So, in landing the plane, because I had a 3 o'clock call I was supposed to be on, we talked about making our strengths our weakness. Put in there in the comments what your DISC profile is. There's a lot of things on the Coaching Done Better in the Resource Vault about DISC. If you'd like to know about that, come put yourself on my schedule. I'll get you an assessment. We'll tell you what you are and tell you how to use it to be better in sales and become a sales master, truly a sales master. And that's the Ray Leone and Tony Leone Success Secrets of the Sales Funnel System. So we are believers and Kool-Aid drinkers in Ray's system. Yeah, maybe. So that's it. Tomorrow we're going to talk more business stuff. It's probably more sales funnel. I'm on this sales funnel kick because I'm updating a bunch of my stuff on this on my profile. So why not go ahead and talk about what we do? That's all we do. Really, the show is for. But what are we doing today?
Yeah, but it's always good to refresh.
Yes,
because you might, learn something that you weren't paying attention to the time before, or you adapted certain things and now you're ready for the next lessons.
And that's it. So talk more tomorrow. See you guys.
Bye.